Isn't the government's job to keep the mortgage industry afloat? Joining us now are two members of the House Financial Services Committee, Congressman Brad Miller, a Democrat from North Carolina, and Congressman Tom Price, an Atlanta area Republican. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. And Congressman Miller, let's start with you. Your reaction to the moves today regarding Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
I think of our limited options, this is one of the least unattractive ones. I certainly hope and expect that Freddie and Fannie will actually do some underwriting of the loans that they buy. I know that's a novel idea, but they should pay attention to make sure that the borrowers can actually pay back the loans. But if they do that, the head of OFEO, the regulatory agency that's charged with the oversight of their safety and soundness, says that they are fine to do this. And this would put a lot more money out in the market so people can continue to buy homes. They can sell their home and buy another, and some people, a lot of people need to refinance.
Congressman Price, do you think that Fannie and Freddie should be taking on more loans as today's announcement would allow them to do?
Well, a couple of things. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate the opportunity to be with you tonight. What we see is that we need more liquidity in the market, and what will happen today has happened today will improve that. But we also need to make certain that the Fannie and Freddie have appropriate oversight, and we haven't moved in that direction. I think the take-home message for folks at home ought to be that the federal government has all of the tools necessary to take care of the situation in which we find ourselves. And the last thing Congress needs to be doing is to be providing more uncertainty to markets, which will further prolong the challenges that we have.
And Congressman, would that oversight come from your committee?
It has. In fact, we worked in a bipartisan way to get through a bill last year. The bill sits in the Senate, and I'm hoping that they will act on it, because with this increased ability for Fannie and Freddie, what we need is to make certain we've got a world-class regulator to oversee the actions, as Brad talked about, make certain that they're not making loans that they ought not make.
Congressman Miller, what are your thoughts on that? Should Fannie and Freddie be taking on more loans in this economic climate?
Oh, I think we have to. The home ownership rate has already gone down pretty substantially as a result of the foreclosure crisis and the inability of people to get credit to buy new homes. And that's a real problem for the economy. We are pretty clearly in a recession now, and housing and the mortgage crisis has been a big part of it. I agree that we need to have a substantial, serious regulator for Freddie and Fannie. They are enormously complex entities. They've got billions and billions of dollars kind of moving around. They've got ludicrously complex derivative products to hedge against interest rates going up, to hedge against interest rates going down. There are only a few people on the planet who can figure out what they really own and what it's worth. And they need a substantial, serious regulator, and I supported that legislation to provide that.
Well, sir, I'm sorry, sir, but of course it begs the question, does OFEO's action today, does that put more taxpayer money at risk?
I think ultimately it does, without a doubt.
Well, I'm sorry, could I let Congressman Miller begin with this?
I'm sorry.
Sure. Secretary Paulson and Chairman Bernanke last week obviously explicitly put taxpayer money at risk by guaranteeing mortgage-backed debt, or taking debt, mortgages as collateral for debt that they guaranteed to investment houses generally, investment banks generally, and Bear Stearns in particular. There is no guarantee for Freddie and Fannie. Supposedly there's an implicit guarantee because they're government-sponsored enterprises, but I haven't signed on to any kind of implicit guarantee. If they are doing what they should do and looking at the borrower's qualifications, they should not have a problem. And OFEO, their current regulator, can certainly make sure they do that.
Congressman Price, what could OFEO and the Treasury Department then do to prevent a total freeze-up of the housing market?
Well, I think what they've done is increase the liquidity in the market itself, and they need to make certain that the loans that are offered, that the loans that are provided, are backed appropriately. We are now in a situation where the private credit market has contracted because of the challenges that we've got in the housing market. Again, the take-home message is that the federal government, the administration, and the entities in place currently have the tools that they need to be able to move us through this. And if we remove all risk to all individuals, then what we do as a society is remove all reward to all individuals. I don't think that's what we want to do, and I would encourage my colleagues in Congress not to be more aggressive in what we're doing.
Congressman Miller, what can the government do then to get the credit crisis behind us? Is it possible that a second stimulus package might be on the horizon?
I think it probably is on the horizon, and some of it's going to be a very bitter pill. It galls my soul to think that we would use taxpayer money to pay off the kinds of loans that were being made in the last couple, 3 years. They were predatory loans. They were designed to catch people, trap people in a cycle of having to borrow and borrow again. Congressman Price is right. There's a lot of regulatory authority the administration already has, and there has been an abysmal failure to use that to protect consumers, and we are now feeling the effects of that in the mortgage crisis that we have.
And Congressman Price, I'll let you get the last word here.
Well, I think that we need to look at the big picture. We need to make certain that we decrease taxes on corporations so that we increase and stimulate the economy. What we don't need to do is to provide the opportunity for judges to change the terms of mortgages for individuals who've made loans. That's something that the Congress my friends on the other side of the aisle have pushed, and I think that's an awful idea. Don't know that anybody believes that would help the system.
Congressman Tom Price and Congressman Brad Miller joining us tonight. Gentlemen, thank you very much.